Hello everybody, my name is Shuman and today we're going to be talking to you guys about the upcoming major tropical disturbance that can affect millions of people in the Northeast. We'll talk about the Atlantic, where it's looking like it's going to be very active at the end of the month, as well as the monsoon rainfall and then the future temperature outlook for the next 2 weeks. So we're here at the Tropical Tidbits forecast when we look at multiple model ones, but this is for the next potential unique. It's a unique storm system because right now it's in Missouri. It's going to slide by Kentucky into Virginia and hug the East Coast, which will cause problems for much of the Northeast, especially the New England states around the I-95, where you can see heavy rain, you can see some gusty winds, coastal flooding, and beach erosion. So we're looking at the GFS model first, then we'll take a look at the icon and the Canadian. All you guys can see this on the Tropical Tidbit weather forecast. So we're gonna be talking about this. It's currently right now just outside the coast. It just got into the Atlantic Ocean, and now we're gonna see how it is. So what this is unique is usually these go out to sea, but a lot of the models are hinting that it's gonna be a left-hand curve. This is due to the high pressure system up in green in the Atlantic that's steering it. Since it's a little bit strong, it's steering it away and it's going to be curving towards the left. So as you can see here, we're showing you guys it's going to become 1001 millibar. This could be a tropical storm, could be a tropical depression. But what it is forecast to is you can see all these circles around in these isobars. The tighter the isobars, the windier the storm will be. This will produce a lot of onshore flow into the Bay of Boston, all across Massachusetts, including the Cape. So expect widespread coastal flooding, some beach erosion, and some gusty rains, as well as some heavy rainfall. This is good news for the Boston area because they're in an extreme drought. In fact, they're like 10 to 12 inches below average. And all these places in the New England states, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, they're about 5 inches or more below average in terms of rainfall. So getting all this coming in, it'll be kind of disruptive, it'll be kind of unsettling, but this will produce some heavy rain which will help the drought. If this storm system occurred in the wintertime, we'll be talking about a major blizzard with over a foot of snow and more problems. But as you can see, it's becoming a 1001. This is a weak tropical storm, and then it will produce some very heavy rain and flooding for Maine. Most of the models are going to be putting it into Maine, but problems will be all across New England as it gets out and weakens and move off the shore. So we're going to be looking at the precip according to this. As you can see here, this is one model, news one for the GFS. It is showing widespread 1 to 2 inches of rainfall, including some pockets of 2 to 4, 3 to 5 inches. I mean, I won't be surprised anyway from Cape Cod all the way to Portland, maybe into central Maine. You guys can see 3 to 5 inches of rain. But on top of that, it'll be very gusty winds and some beach erosion on the coast. So it'll be very disruptive. It'll affect millions of people, especially I-95 and east, which will feel the brunt of the storm. So now we're going to be going to you guys to the next one we're going to be looking at is the Icon model as well. Here is Icon model. It's a little more south compared to GFS, and it's a little bit more east. So this would still produce the onshore flow into Boston, but it's also weaker and there'll be less wind. And however, this shows a left-hand turn again. It's a little bit of a slower storm system, which will produce more rain, but this time it's a little bit more north, which means more into Maine and parts of upper New England, not affecting too much in the Boston area. But it's a very slow storm system as well as it makes into Maine. So overall difference between Icon and GFS is Icon is a little bit more north. I mean, it just shows the storm. First of all, it's starting more south. It's taking a left-hand turn a little bit later, but it stalls a little bit, and it's more north. So Boston will just see the gusty winds, maybe some rain, but most of the impact will be in the higher elevation and upper New England. So I'm going to be now showing you guys the precip. And as you can see, not much for most of the region. I think this is a little bit underdone, but I truly believe Boston we'll see more rainfall than this, but it's saying about a half-inch of rainfall for Boston. Most of New Hampshire also half an inch, but as you get into higher elevation in Vermont and Maine, you can see you can get 2 to 4 inches of rain. And now I'm going to be showing you guys one more model one, which is the Canadian model. Alright everybody, we're here with the Canadian model, another model that I like to look at, especially in tropical temperatures. And let's see what the Canadian model is. It is very similar to the Icon model, which it shows it moves a little bit more north, which could limit the onshore flow into the Boston metro area and more into the Cape. But this will produce, it's a little bit weaker, it's a little bit more quick hitting, but it produces some heavy rain, especially in Maine and upper New England coast as well. Precip should be very similar. It is mostly offshore, which is the trend. I think is a little bit more west from yesterday, but it's still just off the shore of heaviest rain for Boston. You see maybe half an inch of rain up into Maine and up higher elevation 1 to 2. But overall, I think if you're living from Boston all the way up to Presque Isle into Burlington, Concord, expect about widespread 1 to 3 with pockets of 3 to 5. But overall, expect some gusty winds. We'll also look at one more model just to see how it is differently, which will be the NAM 12 kilometer. It's been a little off with this storm system, but we'll see how this one does. So NAM 12 kilometer is a little bit more west. It is trending a lot more west compared to yesterday. It didn't really show much in yesterday's video. It is a little bit more intense too, which could cause more of a problem into New England. I don't really buy the intensity, but I think this is a pretty good model showing a little bit west, and then producing more thunderstorms and heavy rain in New England. This model one will produce a lot more problems for Boston. But overall, if you're living from anywhere from Providence up to Presque Isle, Maine, just be prepared for some disruptive weather and just be prepared. Don't be scared. Again, 1 to 2 inches, 1 to 3 pretty much from Boston all the way up to the U.S.-Canadian border. Now we're going to be talking to you guys on the tropics. Alright folks, we're here looking at the entire tropical Atlantic basin as well as the Gulf of Mexico, because the GFS is hinting that we could see some major activity next week. I know it's a little bit out, but we want to keep you guys prepared for you guys to, in case one of these occur. So as you can see, GFS has the northeast storm. I think could be tropical depression, could be a tropical storm. By pretty much tomorrow, supposed to be by Thursday, it'll make landfall. As you can see, not much to deal for. We might see some low pressure systems down south, but now we're going to see this weekend, and this is when I think the parade of storms is going to start. As you can see, right now there's a lot of dry air, a lot of shear, but I think the shear and dry air are going to be moving away, and we'll have some opportunities end of August to middle of September, as we get into peak hurricane season 2, where we can see some more storms to develop. So as you can see, this one shows one pretty much this weekend that tries to develop. Might be depression, might not be anything as it makes away, but I think you see another one here. These are showing some spin, opportunities to spin, and this one also here in the Gulf of Mexico, which there is a 20% chance for developing in the next 5 days to keep a high of this, because if the environment is there and we can see constant more consistency with the models, we could see potentially something that happened this week, where a disturbance can come through Texas and produce heavy rainfall at least. And the problem with this is the Gulf of Mexico 80s and 90s, and if something like this could develop, it could explode into a big storm. But it's not forecasted right now because there's a little bit of shear, and the cold front is going to come and shear it apart. However, this guy right here, you got to be taking this one potentially seriously. I know it's a long ways out, but this is what the GFS is saying, a potential major hurricane. I don't think this will happen, but you have to also look at this too. They have another hurricane that could come in Texas, Mexico area too. So if I'm in the southeast, I gotta be prepared next week. Anywhere from Texas to Florida, you might be seeing this one or this one, but certainly the Gulf of Mexico is going to be open for business, and there might be a landfall next week or the following week. But this is really important. I'm more worried about this than this because there's a 20% chance right now for a development in the next 5 days, and I think this will become more active. And if something develops out here in the right environment, we could be talking about a major hurricane. In fact, this is forecast to be a major hurricane, and both are forecast to be major hurricanes, which will produce a lot of rainfall and devastation across the U.S. So anywhere in the southeast and the coastlines in the Gulf of Mexico, be prepared, be on alert for the potential tropical activities because it's getting to that time frame. And now moving on to the monsoon once again. Alright everybody, here's today's excessive rainfall outlook. Again, monsoon season in the southwest. The disturbance making its way just getting west tax, which is surprising because most of the models were showing it into Mexico, but it moved a little bit more north, and it's now getting into the El Paso region. This is the sideways that's going on today. It's been going on a lot this morning. Heavy rainfall, some flooding in central Missouri. This will be the one that's going to be moving in south and east as it ridges up to the north and east, which will impact the northeast. And then just some marginal risk because this part of the country has seen a lot of flooding recently, and then some up in the North Plains with some potential storms. Alright, now we're going to be showing you guys the monsoon seasonal forecast, and then we'll end the day with showing us temperature outlook. So we're going to be looking at the west, southwest, first of all. Here we go. Again, now 12-kilometer. This is the disturbance that came on show yesterday, timing up in front of you. Expect some heavy rainfall in southeast Colorado, also in Oklahoma Panhandle, as well as New Mexico. That could produce some flooding. Got some flooding yesterday near Denver. And in the monsoon season, you can see the monsoon's southerly breeze, which will come into some storms. Any storm that develops will produce some heavy rain. You can see up in the mountains, expecting some heavy rain in Arizona. Southeast Arizona has been hit so hard in this monsoon season. In fact, they've seen over 5 inches of rain in some places in the beginning since August 1st, which is insane for this region. Some pop-up storms in Nevada, and more pop-up storms as the daytime heating continues across the monsoon. It's been a record monsoon for some places. In fact, in Las Vegas, it's been more rain they've seen this monsoon since 2010. They're comparing. It's been very humid too. There's been a lot of high dew points. It's been very moist, so you've been able to see some thunderstorms, and you can see some very heavy rain potentially in Friday in southern Arizona. But as it continues, just expect widespread showers and storms. And the monsoon does not look like it's ending. In fact, it might be more intensifying. This is overdone, I think, but expect basically 1 to 2 inches for Arizona, maybe 3 inches, 1 to 3 inches for Arizona, New Mexico, and southern Colorado, and maybe half an inch to an inch in Utah and Nevada. If you see not too much rain up north, it's because you're seeing more of a northerly breeze and not a southerly breeze in the Salt Lake City area. So now we're going to be going to the United States to show you guys the pattern change with temperature forecast. But I'm going to show you guys quickly. We're going to go to the GFS. In the next week, you can see some patterns. Some monsoon in the southwest, some pop-up showers, thunderstorms in the southeast, and the coastal low out in the northeast. Alright, now I'm going to be showing you guys the temperature so you guys can see how everything is. So yesterday we talked about heat wave in the northwest, but cooler for pretty much most of the country. As you can see here, the next 8 to 14 days. In the Climate Prediction Center, well below average for pretty much more central of the country, above average in the coast. So we expect ridge out west, trough down in the center, and east coast expect some ridge as well as some below average up north and above average monsoon season and some showers, thunderstorms out east. This is kind of concerning, especially out here for potential wildfires as well. So we're going to show you guys temperatures. Look at this. Wednesday morning, 50s for northern Illinois. Wisconsin, might be some 40s up in upstate New York, up in the mountains as well. Overall, you can see high temperatures in the low 80s, in the high 70s, and even in the 60s. But this is mostly due to the tropical and storm that could affect hundreds out west. That is crazy. Look at that, 104 in the valleys up in Washington. It's insane. 80s up in the coast. So these places don't get air conditioning, so it'll be devastating for these people. So, but overall, look at that, 50s and 60s in the nighttime, 70s, 80s in the Central Plains, and heat wave out west, as you can see right here. Look at that, low 40s and 30s showing up in the mountains, which is crazy. They might be seeing snow in a few weeks from now. So that's the weather pattern change. You can see some ridging and cooling out east, and heat wave continues out west. Don't see that stopping anytime soon for a while as we continue to move on towards the end of the month. So folks, thanks for watching. Thank you for all the views and subscribers we're gaining. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and enjoy your day, everybody.